Well, things are really heating up for Mel Gibson and the whole situation that's going on with him. He's come out and he started again with the conspiracy theory, and they actually are calling it a conspiracy theory because he's saying that um, the fires that happen, they are strange, right? And they are very strange, and they are. They are the things that happen in California is very strange. Still, it should be investigated. A lot of stuff about the fire just doesn't add up. You know, the fact that you have Stewart and Lydia Resnick controlling the fire, controlling the water in California, and the fact that nobody was able to even get water. What happened basically is that I even watched a video that a guy, he was trying to put a fire out at his house, and when he turned the water spigot on just to even use this water hose, there was no water pressure. There was nothing. And so this comes straight from the horse's mouth. So a lot of people are talking about it. And Mel Gibson, of course, he's going to say it. And I think one of the things that Mel Gibson says is that he believes that, well, anyway, let me just let you hear what he has to say.
Award-winning director Mel Gibson, an old friend, a Malibu resident who tragically just lost his home to the Palisades fire. Mel, I was thinking about you when I saw this fire break out. I think I talked to Raymond. I said, is Mel okay? Is his family okay? I instantly thought of you. He said he thought you were okay. And I'm glad you got out. I'm glad your family is safe. But tell us what it was like to be on Rogan's podcast when I guess you learned that your home had been lost.
Well, I didn't learn it was lost. I knew the neighborhood was on fire, then I was in the path. So I was a little tense while I talked to Joe, but he's a guy that can put you at your ease fairly well. So I was doing okay. And I knew that
Mel,
my family was safe and out of harm's way.
Were you able to get possessions that, of course, are really immaterial when you have your family, but I've been to your house. It was an incredible home, beautiful home. But were you able to get anything out of your house?
Not much. A few necessary things. You know, my son I said, just go and grab this and this and this. And he grabbed like 3 things and took off. And then, those are okay. Stuff like passports and a couple of papers and stuff like that. But by and large, everything was just, it looked, when I got there the other day, I went up there yesterday, it looked like Dresden, after Bomber Harris got through with it. Yeah.
Mel,
so nothing left.
For those of us watching this from afar, try to convey to us the feeling of seeing your home, your neighbors' homes, and the community there at such a loss.
I mean, it's tragic. It makes you really sad. I was actually, there are neighbors I have that I was actually looking at them. I felt worse for them than I did for myself. I look at it as a strange mixture of sadness and almost kind of an elation in a sense that I count my blessings, no matter what. These are things, and they may or may not be replaceable, but they're only things, and we're still here, and I just kind of look at it as almost in a weird kind of way a purification but of course it's very sad, and there were many things gone in the blaze that I've thought about since. I thought, oh damn, that's too bad, but works of art, photographs, rare books, old books. Some as old as 1600. It's like
Had a book as old as the 1600s. Can you imagine the devastation that fire did? And what's odd about it is that this is only part of the story. Mel Gibson has been on record talking about things that are going on in Hollywood. And he's been saying things that, as he's been talking, it's been getting closer and closer to the truth about some of the things that's going on in Hollywood, right? And a lot of it is very, very evil, very, very wicked. And so when Mel Gibson comes out and is targeted, his house is burned up, it's almost like he said, well, I feel an elation, like a purification, like a cleansing, like almost like he was trying to say there was a relief that he gets the chance to move somewhere else. And that's what he's going to say a little bit later. He's going to say he feels like that they're trying to clear the state out. They're trying to get everybody out of the state. Either way, let me let you hear how he says.
Crazy.
Irreplaceable.
And irreplaceable stuff. Yeah. So it is what it is, I guess. It was only a month ago that the flames threatened us, 200 meters away on the other side. And of course the wind shifted and came in and whipped and got us from the other direction. So it was an interesting.
You've heard the.
Go on.
You've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about these fires. Obviously, the winds were horrific, but they were predicted. I know that last weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they said this could be tragic with these winds if any fire starts.
Sure.
Do you believe in what you know so far? Anything could have happened like this?
Yeah, well, one always suspects that this might happen, but one thinks that the resources, and the capabilities of the men and women will be on standby, that they'll be able to cope with any situation that comes up. But apparently, some people were asleep on the job, mainly our leaders there. But, that's something they have to live with. And but that's something that community has to live with. It's really sad. I mean, I have many friends that are, looking for a place to put a roof over their heads, and kids, and they're traumatized. Someone should answer for it, but we'll see. I think we know who the culprits are. In fact, my son he's a member of the volunteer fire brigade. He sort of interfaces between LA County Fire and people, and they assist them where they can during, before, and after the blaze. And apparently the residents in Corral Canyon caught an arsonist up there, and the guy was all tooled up with fire gear and equipment and stuff like that and ready to go, and he had been lighting fires, but they corralled the guy in Corral Canyon and gave him to the police. So
yeah, apparently
there are people actively going around looking for these conditions. Yeah,
apparently, Mel, that individual was never charged. It's a very confusing set of facts, because apparently he was reportedly trying to light things on fire, but it's not the fires, I guess, that they. I mean, it all seems very bizarre. But they have not ruled out that arson could have started the first fire.
Okay, so here's the thing. The guy was never charged, and they're saying, and Mel Gibson is saying all that he can say, because right now he's catching a lot of trouble for saying as much as he has said already. If you go on the internet, you're going to look up and see that CNN are calling Mel Gibson a conspiracy theorist. Yahoo, I think, News, I just pulled that up, and they were saying that Mel Gibson came up with a crazy idea that, the fires are deliberate, that they're pointing the finger at Mel Gibson and saying, hey, this guy is crazy. And so, but anyway, as we look at this, we can see that there's obviously something going on. Now, again, the person who's over the entire water department, the Department of Water, from what I understand, they make at least as much as about $700,000 a year. And I guess his water commissioner started cutting back on the water. Not only that, but a number of other key figures in that state have actually cut back on the water, and they continue to cut back on the fire department, where, from what I understand, they are at a deficit of firefighters. So they don't have enough firefighters because they have cut the budget so much that at least 80 firefighters, what I heard, from 65 to 85 firefighters, they need at least that many. Let's just go ahead and say they need at least 100 firefighters. So when they were getting calls, they were overwhelmed at the fact that they were getting so many calls. And you remember I posted a video just today about a gentleman whose house was not on fire, and he was running around the neighborhood trying to find somebody to help him to keep his house from catching on fire, because the house next door to him was ablaze. And to prevent his house from catching on fire, his wife ran down to the store to buy bottles of water in hopes that maybe she can get back and there'll be enough water to keep their house from actually catching on fire from the next house. So I don't know how that story ever came out, but it's a shame because every fire hydrant and all of the water pressure was gone. Every fire hydrant was completely gone. And who owns the water reserves, from what I understand, are two billionaires. Their names are Stuart and Lydia Resnick, multi-billionaires. And they use the water, of course, for Fiji Water and all sorts of other huge corporations that they own. And of course, you probably have guessed their ethnic background, that, they are possibly people originally from Israel. I don't know. But I'm just saying, it's amazing what's going on. Let's listen to what Mel has to say.
There's obviously still investigating this, and at the same time, Mel, there are numerous complaints, as you alluded to, that the fire hydrants did not have water or water pressure, and the LA fire chief herself reacted. Watch this.
My stance on this is, when a firefighter comes up to a hydrant, we expect there's going to be water. We don't control the water supply. Our firefighters are there to protect lives and property and to make sure that we're properly trained and equipped. That's my position on this. So if there's no water, I don't know how the water gets to the hydrants.
Mel, reaction to that?
Well, I know they were messing with the water, letting reserves go for one reason or another. They've been doing that a while. California has a lot of problems that sort of baffle the mind as far as why they do things. And then in the events like this, you sort of look, oh, is it on purpose? Which, it's an insane thing to think.
Okay, so you're right. Okay, so it is very insane, and that's what they're calling them, insane, because obviously it is insane when you think about that. What is going on, that they have no water to put fires out, and they live in a state like California. What could be possibly the reason for that? And again, let's go back to the woman. Let me see if I can go back to her without doing too much damage to the stream I have here. The woman, Christine M. Crowley. Now, she was hired I believe in 2022. 2022, I'm thinking. She was one of the first lesbian fire chiefs, female. And well, yeah, I guess lesbian implies that. And so she was one of the first that they had, and they were celebrating her in 2022. Now, I'm wondering if identity politics has anything to do with the fact that, well, she went to she was hired in this job, and now it's almost like she's being the fall guy for something that's a major problem that's way above her head. But at the same time, she is responsible for checking the pressure on those, checking the pressure and just everything. She's responsible for that. So I wonder if again, identity politics put her in a position, then we can say that this person wasn't ever qualified because we only hired her because of her sexual orientation, which sounds ridiculous. Why would you even hire anybody based upon sexual orientation? But it really should be the most qualified person getting the job, right? And that's what should happen. Let's see here. Let's go back.
California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that. In this case, like goodbye single family homes, hello high density housing.
Yeah, that's what.
And obviously there's a great need for high density housing in California and across the country. That's a big push by the climate folks. And you're already hearing rumblings of that.
High density housing, 15-minute cities, freedom cities, all of these new kind of structures that they want to build. It does seem very convenient for them to for the housing that people have, the huge houses. Mel Gibson obviously lived in a very big house because I counted at least 2 air conditioners, but from what I heard he had 4 air conditioners on that house. So that house was obviously very, very huge. But I'm sure Mel Gibson has other houses, or I'm just guessing. But I'm sure he has other options. That's why he was able to say comfortably, I felt sorry for my neighbors. And, I could be wrong. But that's what we're looking at, again, seems to be pushing us in the direction of no one is going to be living in the green areas of California out. No one's going to be living out away from the city. That there, it seems to be they want everyone in these high density places. And who knows for what,
In this case, like goodbye single family homes, hello high density housing.
Yeah. It's pretty scary, and it'll take decades to do that too. It's like even if it if it's a good idea, which I don't know if it is, but reminds me of the old cattle barons clearing people off the land, But I don't know. I can make all kinds of horrible theories up in my head, conspiracy theories and everything else, but it just seemed a little convenient that there was no water, and and that the wind conditions were right, and that there are people ready and willing and able to start fires. And are they commissioned to do so, or are they just acting on their own volition? I don't know. But they seem pretty well equipped, some of these people that they're catching.
A lot of questions. A lot of questions, Mel. Mel, a message tonight.
I'll sift through the remains of my place and see if I can find any clues for you.
Mel, any message from you to Governor Newsom or Karen Bass tonight?
Spend less on hair gel. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say to them? Not big admirer of either, but there
Yeah.
you go.
Now, Mel, I know multiple shows and films have been put on hold. Everyone's livelihood has been put on hold, been involved in these fires, affected by the fires. And I know you have a film, Flight Risk, that's coming out in just 2 weeks. First film you've directed since 2016's Hacksaw Ridge, which we love. The Ingram family loved Hacksaw Ridge. So what can we expect with the industry going through changes already with these fires affecting production? And I can't wait for this film.
Oh, sure. There's going to be, I think, people will have to adapt. I mean, very few things are made in California now anyway. I mean, over all these years, the playing field never really got leveled as far as, tax exemptions and all this advantages and you could get from making film here. So, production goes on in the various places that it does. And I think for the industry, times of crisis have always been good for the entertainment industry. Not that I'm saying any crisis is good, no, but I think people want, they want to be entertained during those times, and they like escapism and just things for pure entertainment, which is what I was trying to do with Flight Risk anyway. It's just a pure entertainment piece. But
well, we need it. We need pure entertainment. And Mel, you know what else we need? You know what else we need, which I cannot wait to talk to you about at length, is the resurrection. And I know you've been working on that for quite a long time. But how wonderful it will be for us to have the resurrection in film. And what can you tell us briefly?
Yeah. Briefly? Wow. It's an ambitious thing, and it's after working on it for 6 or 7 years with Randall Wallace and my brother, all of us kind of contributing to the writing. It's going to be something that I hardly expected. I mean, I think I told Joe the other day. He said, "What's it like?" I said, "It's kind of like an acid trip, but you're dealing with big stuff and big questions." In other realms, and it'll certainly be theologically and visually and artistically for me challenging. But you got to step up to the plate and take a swing, right?
Oh no, Mel, you've never done that. You've never done that in your career. Mel, I'm so glad that you're okay. You've helped me in times of crisis. When I was going through cancer, I will never forget. You called me and gave me really great words of wisdom about treatment, and you were so fabulous all those years ago, 20 years ago, actually.
Okay, so sounds like they're wrapping it up, but we do need a resurrection. We need the Lord Jesus to return, right? And we need a visitation. He's already been resurrected, and I don't know how Mel Gibson is going to produce this movie, being from California. California now is, like he said, it's old, it's shifting, things are changing, but people are still looking for entertainment, but they're getting it from other places because obviously California is going to be empty soon, and who knows what the future is going to be. I kind of took what he said seriously when Mel Gibson actually made the statement that it may take years for them to actually reshape this whole thing, this whole society, and bring us into this Hunger Game kind of scenario where everyone are in these regions and they're not allowed to go into the forest and hunt, fish, or survive on their own. And that seems to be where they are taking this future that, they would hope to. Hopefully that would never happen. And maybe I'm just talking off the top of my head and really, I don't know. So you guys give me your opinion. Let me know what you think. Hey, I hope this has been something valuable to you. And if it has, go ahead and visit my links and I'll talk to you a little bit later. God bless.